Welcome to Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Killer Klowns from Outer Space, the video game. I play on the Xbox Series X. It's also available on the PS5, PC, and Xbox Series S. So let's get into the story, which there really isn't one because it's an asymmetrical PvP game. But basically you can either play as alien clowns who are trying to abduct humans and wrap them in cotton candy and suck the life out of them, or straight up kill them, or you can play as humans who are trying to, well, not have that happen to them. So let's get into the audio. The first thing I'm going to say is I think the music actually really works with the whole vibe of the game because it's kind of spooky circus music. So it has that kind of clown music vibe, but at the same time it has some spooky undertones, and I think that works well. And given the era that this game is set in, I think the sound effects and the music really work with that. As for the voiceover, it's not like there's cutscenes and whatnot to go through, so it's mostly like weird creepy clown laughing and humans doing kind of basic commands and stuff like that. It's not like the quality of voice acting really actually matters. Then last but not least, the sound effects, which I think those are well done for the most part. I think they work well with the vibe of what's going on. You've got your spooky cotton candy ray and it makes a ray gun type sound. Plus they're kind of goofy, weird weapons that the clowns use. The sound effects work with those. As well as for the humans, when you're sneaking about and trying to avoid the clowns, it gets kind of creepily quiet, which makes sense because you're sneaking about trying to not get caught. But overall, I think the sound effects in the world, they're fine. They work well enough. I don't have any major complaints. But let's get into the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and like I said, this is an asymmetrical multiplayer game. It's 3 clowns versus up to 7 humans, and it's third person no matter which side you are. Kinda like I said, for what it is, the clowns are trying to kill all the humans, and the humans are trying to escape. And they have 4 methods of escape on every map, and each of those require at least a couple of things to get, and voila, you get to escape. And a certain number of people can escape when you do that. It's like 2 or 3 can use each exit. But to get what you need, there's a decent amount of wandering around trying to find items, and it's a weird game because I just don't think it's well balanced right now. I played games where as the clown, almost everyone escaped within the first 3 minutes. Whereas as the human, I also played games where, I got spawned right next to the clowns and got murdered immediately. And I mean, that was the start of the match. I just spawned near clowns and died. It was kind of bullshit. Which leads into some other kind of shit, which is if you're the human and you die early on, you just have to sit there and wait until the match ends, however long that may take, if you want to get your experience for that match. Now, there is a thing where the humans can revive other humans, the dead ones, but out of all the matches I played, that happened exactly twice. And I did escape a few times, but it was generally more dumb luck than I felt like I really accomplished anything. And maybe that's just me. I'm generally shit as survivors in these kind of games. But I should point out that as a human, you can get items to defend yourself. There's the air horn, which will stun the clowns. You can get weapons and beat up and kill clowns, ranging from melee weapons to guns, etc. And if you use those, it's actually very useful because, well, obviously that gives you a respite because the clowns can and will respawn on their own, no special anything. As for when you're playing as the clowns, you get a variety of weapons and abilities to help you track down and hunt the humans, turn them into cotton candy, beat them to death. You even get like little fatalities. You can kind of fast travel by using a jump that will you can clear the entire map if you need to, but it does have a cooldown, as do all of your clown abilities. But when you get somebody as cotton candy, you have to pick them up in the cocoon and put them in, I don't remember what the thing is called, but it spawns these little lackeys that will hunt down and kind of startle the humans, can track the humans. It's very useful because once they start chasing the human's hopefully going to run and you'll be able to see a visual representation of the sound. You can see these white circles every time they run so that you can kind of start following them. And that's one thing they both have. Both sides have health and they both have stamina, so you don't want to run around too much or else you burn out your stamina. I did find that the cotton candy ray gun kind of sucked because it took multiple charges essentially to actually cotton candy someone, so they could get away fairly easily at times. If they sprinted, you were kind of screwed on more than a few occasions because they could get out of distance. Like I said, I feel like there are some balancing issues in this game. As I mentioned, you have XP, so as you level up your human, you get new ways to play as a human, which could lead to better escapes, easier escapes, better defense against clowns, etc. Whereas with clowns, it's obvious obviously new ways to track and take down the humans. There was like a popcorn gun, there was almost like a sniper type gun, as well as the regular ray gun, and then you had like a melee weapon as well. And then one thing I do have to say and like really complain about is the teams. It's at random. It just chooses 7 players and puts them as humans or clowns. You don't get a say in it whatsoever. And it's so goddamn random that I jumped into a lobby with no clowns. So it didn't assign me clown, it assigned me human and then put me in a lobby. So it didn't pick a lobby and then go, hey, we need a clown, hey, we need a human, which would be the smart way to do that in my opinion. Or do something like, well, I hate to say it, but Dead by Daylight, because I don't like making these comparisons. I like games to kind of try and do their own thing, and they are trying to do something that has a blueprint but in their own way. But the fact that you can't choose to play as clowns or play as survivors, humans, I think is really dumb. Because if you're like me, I'm generally shit as survivors. Dead by Daylight, I'm shit as survivor. But I'm decent as a killer, and I was much better as a clown, but I had no say in how I got to play this game. And yeah, I got better as a survivor, but I was always better as a clown. And my other big complaint is this game desperately needs a playable tutorial. Every side of this, clowns and humans, would really benefit from a playable tutorial. Humans a little bit more than clowns, but it would be beneficial so that you could really get to learn your character's abilities and get a better grasp of the goals and what you need to be doing and how to do them, etc. Because it just doesn't help you with that in the slightest. Oh, I should also chime in that there's a little mini game you can play when you're a dead human to try and help out the surviving players, because you kind of get put in this lobby where you're just watching a player, but you can play a little mini game and give them items that could help them. Or you can store them for yourself if you get revived. Yeah, long and short with gameplay, it could be fun, but there is so much balancing left to do that it wasn't particularly enjoyable for me. Let's get on to the controls. And honestly, I don't have any complaints with the controls. I think they worked very well, whether it's the aiming as a human or a clown. The movement is good. I do think the crouching and sprinting as a human could be better. Like if I was sprinting, I couldn't go into a crouch right away. It would do some weird kind of fucky thing. So that could be better, but overall, I think it worked well enough. Then let's get into the graphics and the visuals, and it's not the prettiest game you're ever gonna see. It's not even at that point where you're like, this is truly next gen, this needs to be on something like the PS5, except for the clowns. Like, visually, they clearly put all their effort into the clowns. Like, if you look at the humans versus the clowns have so much detail in their face. They get these weird wrinkly bits, kind of like the clowns in the movie, but there's detail in it. Whereas the humans, they look like shitty action figures. There's very little detail. Like, we're used to games not looking particularly amazing, but still putting the, like, weave of fabric in there. That's not even here. I was really kind of shocked by that, and it felt kind of lazy. Like, don't get me wrong, obviously Killer Klowns from Outer Space, clowns should be very focused, but I mean, if you're going to be playing as the survivors just as much as you're going to be playing as the clowns, why didn't they put the same effort in? Which, that being said, I did think the character customization was actually a fun element. You could really play around with each of them. As you level up, you get more outfits and items of outfits, etc., to like customize your character, make your human, make your clown look more unique. There weren't as many options for the clowns, or at least I didn't see as many options per clown as there were per human. But either way, I think that was a fun detail. I'm still just kind of disappointed in, the lack of detail there. As for the maps, I think they give you a decent variety of maps. Not all of them are as well laid out as each other. They're not all equal. What they are is excellent at capturing the vibe. If you've ever seen the movie, these maps really do kind of capture that vibe. They capture the vibe of the era. There's not as much detail in them as I would like. Like I said, the graphical fidelity isn't quite there, but I do think the visual design is there. The aesthetic is there. I think they captured all of that very well. So to get into the wrap up, as I've already said, I think this game has serious balance issues. Down the line, it could be a much more enjoyable game. I think a lot of multiplayer games, especially when they're, just starting their own game, it's a new IP, they have that room to grow, and they can absolutely grow into something much better. But as it stands at launch, it's really difficult for me to recommend this game because, quite frankly, playing it felt like a chore. I didn't really enjoy it at any point in time. It really felt like, hey, I decided I'm going to review this game, and, well, I'm now just playing it so that I can review this game. which that's just pure disappointment. I personally can't recommend it right now. Maybe if you really loved the movie and you just think it's one of the coolest movies ever, you could fall in love with this game. But for me, I think there's better options out there. Okay, in the comments down below, why don't you tell me, have you ever seen the movie Killer Klowns from Outer Space? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.